All right, welcome back to the RetroCult Podcast. I am your host, Chuck. That is your host, Mac. Mac, what's been going on in your world, man?
Oh, not much, not much. Just getting a lot of work done around the house. Trying to stay cool during our mini heat wave. Thankfully, that seems to have broken at least for a few days. And today was a nice, comfortable day, and gave my air conditioning a rest.
Yeah,
So,
definitely a nice day today.
yeah, it was a nice day. It's supposed to have a couple more nice days before the 90s return, but other than that, I did get a chance to go to the movies with my son this weekend. That was a lot of fun. I found a figure that, even though it's a new figure, it's a retro character, so we might talk about him a little bit. But other than that, take just work, and
Yeah, well, tell me a little about. I mean, I know like that's our thing is going out and finding things. Tell me about some of the things that you have found since the last time. I think the last time we talked, you had made the video about your find of the new DC figures, which
yeah,
was awesome.
yeah. I actually was. I'm also shooting some shorts on each individual figure. Haven't posted those yet, but that's a little experiment I'm actually doing, to rather than trying to do one long video. I'm actually just going to film like a 3-minute short focusing on each figure. So I'll actually should have some of those videos posted this week. We'll see how the viewers react to that. Like I said, I'm kind of experimenting with the shorts. I've never really shot a lot of shorts. Most of the time, it's something like my little target treasure hunt that day, when I
Yeah.
just want to get something up right away. Um, these are going to have a little bit of production value to them, um, so we'll see how that goes. But other than that, yeah, I found that's really been about it, because I just with between work and some other things going on, I just haven't had a chance. Like, I wanted to actually go to McKay's this weekend, see if I could find anything there, but it just didn't happen this weekend. We were doing work around the house where, I need to get in the attic. We've got some insulation that needs installing. And I don't know, that might become a fall project. I might just have to live with it through the summer because it
I'm
was
in the
too
same
hot up
boat.
there.
I think
Yeah.
that I definitely have some insulation things that need to be taken care of, but I am probably going to put that off
Yeah.
until it gets cooler and
Yeah.
deal with it then because
Y
you're correct, it is just too hot.
yeah.
I know that
Yep.
I was able to make it out this past Saturday. Been working a lot of the Saturdays, and so this Saturday I was off, and so I was able to hit up some yard sales, and I was able to hit up like a flea market that I enjoy going to, and was able to find some pretty interesting things. I know that I shared with you those Pepperidge Farm Star Wars, the Return of the Jedi cups that you could get when you
Yeah.
would buy the Star Wars cookies back in the day, and they were just kind of hanging out there.
Yeah,
I've
you
posted,
should show them on camera,
yeah,
for
yeah,
people who might be watching the podcast on YouTube.
yeah, there
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go.
they're awesome. Those are great.
Yeah, so these,
I remember those cookies. I didn't realize there was a giveaway with that.
I didn't either because and until I picked up the cup and started looking into what it was, and then I was like, oh, and I'm so glad that I glanced at this table of tools because it was
Mhm.
sitting in the middle of a. It wasn't with all the regular toyish things. I know I've posted. I think I've posted one video on Instagram. If not, I know I've sent you the pictures, and I'll get it on Instagram and YouTube soon. I found some old LJN wrestlers that
Oh,
have been
yes,
covered
yeah.
in a very odd gray paint.
Yeah.
And I
I
could
I I
see,
want you to I definitely want you to post your footage of, because this would be kind of your first toy restoration, right? Well, no,
uh,
you and Cassandra did some of the GI Joes. You kind of
yeah,
repaired
I mean,
those.
I love the toy restoration videos, and I'll be honest with you, sitting out and um, you know, doing those and just seeing the beginning result and seeing the end result. Is it a perfect figure? It's definitely not a perfect figure. Once I got all that gray paint off, you could tell that these wrestlers had been played with, and that's okay. I'm all right with that. It was fun taking them from abused to back to what they should be. I think I have 99% of the gray paint off of of the Hillbilly Jim figure, and I'm working on the Iron Sheik now.
No, I
Um,
and those are gonna be great inventory for the next toy show that we end up doing
yeah,
because,
I
I need to get some too because that was I would say that was the most asked question. We had the bin of loose figures. The number one question we had from people were, "Are there any wrestlers
yeah,
in here?" And we don't because I don't personally collect wrestling figures, and so it was just nothing that I had ever accumulated. So, but I,
yeah.
I definitely think I'm on the hunt for some, especially ones I can get at a really low cost, so I can throw them in the bin with more as a loose
I'm
figure.
I'm the same. I might keep Hillbilly Jim just because of
Mhm.
the just the nostalgia of having that growing up and cleaning it off and joking with my friends about getting in trouble for throwing that chunk of rubber at a brother when he really made you angry when you were little. Um,
Mhm.
but the Iron Sheik one, I have no attachment
Yeah.
to that at all, and that's definitely going to go
Well, I
in the
definitely,
inventory.
a little wrestling aside there, I grew up watching wrestling every Saturday night with my parents because when we first got cable TV in the 80s, on Saturday night they had wrestling live from the Omni in Atlanta. I still remember, I can still hear that in my head. Um, and we watched. I mean, my cousin and I, we loved it. I mean, we reenacted wrestling and everything. But the thing was, there really weren't the wrestling figures. I don't remember even starting to show up until definitely the late '80s, and by then I was kind of out of it. But I think that's when the wrestling figures first started showing up, and then I know they really kind of exploded in the '90s. And if that stuff had been around when I was a kid at the right age, I would have definitely wanted it, especially the ring with the and
Oh,
especially those early figures that are just like you said, solid pieces of rubber. They're meant to just be smashed together.
oh yeah, they were. I do remember I loved them, but I also hated them because they had no articulation,
Oh,
so
right. Yeah.
there was no moving of arms or anything. So I had a lot of the rubber wrestlers, but those got put aside very quickly, and He-Man and
Yeah.
other figures of that size ended up in the wrestling ring way more
Well,
than anyone else did.
and I think even the wrestling figures after the popularity of He-Man eventually transitioned into I because I know there are some wrestling figures th- from that era
Yeah,
that are
Remco had a
more,
line.
yeah, Remco, that were more like a
Yeah.
He-Man style figure. And then now, of course, you can get anything from, you can get like really cheap wrestling figures all the way up to these collector elite series, highly
Oh yeah.
articulated, detailed, action figures.
Well, they've
Um,
re-released the rubber figures.
oh
Those are
yeah,
back out.
really?
So
I didn't
yeah,
know
so
that.
you can get your classic figures with the same blue card. I know the black card is the rarer one. Um, and I've seen a lot of the more popular ones, but I'm not going to pick something up because it's just not in my wheelhouse, and it's not something I'm looking to try to resell. But they've got your current wrestlers, but they're also re-releasing some of the older wrestlers like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Hulk
Hmm.
Hogan, and some of the and I think Macho Man is out there. Ultimate Warrior might be one. So they're
Oh
doing a little
yeah,
bit of
yeah.
both. I'll have to share with you I found a sealed WWF, so you know how old that is, wrestling game, board game, the other day that is going straight into the inventory.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, I mean, it was such a great deal that I'm excited. I'm sure that that'll bring in some more money for more toys and more inventory for the next toy show. But speaking of toy shows,
Well, before we jump to that, I did
yeah,
because in the same vein with the Star Wars cookie promotion, I know that a couple of episodes back when we were talking about cereal toys, our favorite cereal toys, and we were bemoaning the fact that they don't really do that anymore or very often, or when they have done it, it's like a special thing that cost $1 million, or and
Yeah.
you can only get them online or whatever. But I'm glad to see that. I'm sure that we had a direct impact on Kellogg's because, or at least I'm going to take credit for it. Um, because I've seen two different. I don't know whether anybody will be able to see that, but I took a picture of Frosted Flakes. They have a Toy Story 5 spoon,
Yeah, there's a lot of the Toy Story
and
spoons in the cereals
then
now.
Fruit Loops has collector cards.
Nice. I haven't seen the collector cards, but I
Yeah,
have seen the
I
spoons.
didn't buy either one of them. I should, just because that should I don't need to be sitting around eating Fruit Loops, but I do kind of want the cards and the spoon. Um, and like I said, I just am like, well, I wanted them to do that. I kind of have to support that now.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that they've come back out with that, and
I
it
know
is
it's only for
exciting.
this one movie, but hey, it's better. I'll take it. I'll take it. And if this is successful, maybe we'll go back to that golden era where every time a genre movie like a Batman or Star Wars or something like that comes out, you would get cross promotional marketing
I
with
do miss the
cereal and
marketing.
everything. I do.
Yeah. But I do wanna go back to our toys, thing because
Yep.
the I looked up the toy show, that used to come to Winston, and I don't see
Yeah,
it
they're
coming
not
at
doing
all.
it. Yeah, I looked that up too. They don't have one scheduled for July, and it was July last year when we went
Yeah,
there.
and I don't
And
see it at all this year, so we may have to I've seen 2 different toy shows. I've seen a Hot Wheels themed with action figures and everything else in Withville, Virginia, and that is on the same weekend that the sports card slash toy show that typically shows up here is gonna be in Raleigh. And so I don't know if we'll have the time. I don't know if we'll be able to make that. But I think it would, if we can, I think it would be awesome because I know we really enjoy those. And
well,
I
that
just don't
same
know if there'll be a toy show around anytime soon for us to go to.
well, the same company that did that show here in Winston, I really hate to see that they're not. I hope that's not a sign that they're never going to do it again. But you were right. When I looked at their calendar, I don't, because they used to do it twice a year. It used to be spring and fall or winter, right? There was like a winter
Yeah.
one too, and I don't see it on their schedule at all for this year. I did see that they're still having one in Hickory coming up, and that's not too far, I don't think.
I thought that one had passed, but yeah, that I did see the
You know
Hickory
what? Maybe it
listed.
has. I may need to recheck the calendar, but I do know they still have one in Hickory, and I still
Yeah.
believe that one's twice a year. So
Okay.
even if we missed one already, there will be another one. And the tables there are fairly affordable. I think they're $80 a table.
Okay.
So they also are doing one in Charlotte, but the Charlotte one is ridiculous. I consider it ridiculous. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's if you have the right type of inventory, I'm sure it's going to be a great show and very profitable. But I want to say it was like $200 a table or something like that. I'm like, oof, that
Yeah, we might have the other. I know the Recollect had talked about doing a fall show.
he meant. I hope he does, because if he does a show in the fall, I'll definitely be there.
If
I'll
the
definitely
tables are
be.
the same price, absolutely.
I will definitely be there for that. But yeah, and I'm just going to keep an eye out for other shows. I have been looking around as well just to see if there. I did notice that we've discussed the Nerd Underground stuff.
Yep.
Unfortunately, most of those are outside, and
Yeah.
in this kind of summer heat in North
It's
Carolina,
not fun,
I don't
no.
really want to do it. But I did notice on their Facebook page that they apparently had one a few weeks ago that was actually inside somewhere, and it looked like
Oh,
a pretty
nice.
nice event. And I'm like, oh, hate we missed that.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with them as much because of this, whole transition into this new
Yeah.
job and, other things
Once I
going
get
on.
the comics situation, more sorted out, which that is a continuing project. But once I get that, I'm actually going to see what it would cost to set up at one of Beardy Weirdy's mini Comic Cons.
I mean, I don't have the quite the comic collection that you would have. I do have some, but I wouldn't mind setting up
I think
there
we
with
could
some of
share it.
my
I think we could share a
yeah.
table or get two tables because I think you'd still do very well with toys and
Yeah, I mean,
stuff.
I could
Yeah.
take the comic book records and I could take the comic books and I could take I have a lot of those uh paperbacks.
Yeah.
So I have things that would sell at a place like that. I just may not be quite as busy as some of the other booths, but it would
No,
if
right.
it's affordable, it would be fun.
Yeah, I'd have to look into seeing what he charges per table, but I know the one we went to last year was a lot of fun from a buyer standpoint, and I would like to think it might be a good time. Yeah, I mean, with the board games, you know, and that kind of stuff, I still think you did pretty well. I know there was a guy there, even at that minicon near the back, who had a lot of action figures, and he actually, speaking of wrestling, he actually had quite a few wrestling figures, and I think he was fairly busy.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's typically, I mean, there's some people that are solely comic books, but I
Mm.
think your comic book collectors typically
Oh
are
yeah.
they branch out into other things as well.
Speaking, yeah, as one of them, yeah. No, it never stays just comic books. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I know that we found a really I mean a pretty large run of Alf the other night. Really great condition. Cassandra was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I
Um,
wanna like I said, I need to try to get to McKay's, um, just because you have had so much luck finding those old Comico comics, and I
yep.
would love to get more of those, especially the Johnny Quest, the Star Blazers, Robotech, that kind of stuff. I would love to find more of that.
Yeah, anytime I'm there, if I have time to dig through all their,
That's the only thing,
20
they have a
boxes,
pretty yeah, they have a pretty good little comic area. I
you're
mean,
gonna be blown away when you go back because they have rearranged a lot of things
oh,
and it
cool.
is very different. I'm hoping that they don't go the route of the Mebane area, um, they just have all their comics out, and you just
Yeah,
have to dig, and like not everything is the same price, and sometimes they're
yeah,
$12, sometimes they're 50 cents. I like their used comic section where you can go through and kind of dig that they're every day they're refreshing, and
yep.
so it's fun to go in there and dig and see what you can find in there. Um, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've picked up a lot of really cool things lately, and I'm looking forward to hitting an actual toy show where I'm not just looking, to replenish our inventory, like actually picking things up that I personally want to collect. It's
Yeah.
been a while since I've done any of that.
Yeah, like I said, I really I haven't had a chance to go to any flea markets or you know, used bookstores or anything like that. I was we were just running errands, and I was at Walmart last week, and I always check the collector spot, even though I really don't buy that many McFarlane figures anymore. But I did find this one. I had to pick it up, and I'll show it for people that might be watching on YouTube. It's Gangbuster, who's a Superman ally, so I had to get it. But this really cool character, and Mattel may have done a Gangbuster figure as part of their DC Universe line that ran for so long years ago. I don't recall. I might be wrong, but I believe this might be the first time Gangbusters ever had a figure. And
Okay.
so I picked him up. Interesting character. Of course, he ties into the Superman family, so I've got to definitely want that. Um, I mentioned to you before we started recording the downside to this. It's a great figure. The sculpt is awesome. Love it. After finding the Mattel figures and seeing the quality of those figures, I know they're smaller. They're like in the 5.5 to 6 inch range, whereas these are 7 inch figures. But still, those figures are actually really well made. The detailing is great. I mean, these are some amazing figures, and um, they're 12.99. It was painful to pay almost $28 for this figure.
Yeah.
It was
Um,
painful.
I was looking at our messages from today, and I think I just realized, like, you were able to purchase that Fisher Price cassette.
Oh yeah, I thought you reacted to that. Yeah, I got
I
it.
I
Yeah.
I I I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying now that I have that, because when we were at uh Lo-Fi, the Lo-Fi archive, is it
Yeah,
Lo it's Lo-Fi archive
I think
in
it is low
Winston,
five. Yeah.
and I picked up a copy of Bat Dance there on
Yes.
cassette, and now I've got this cassette coming, and it's a Fisher Price. Uh, what was it? Attack of the Lunar.
It's like Justice League or something.
It's the Justice League. The story is Attack of the Lunar. Oh god, I can't remember now. The Lunar Invaders from 1981, and I love the description because it said children's songs sung by the Justice League of America. I'm like, awesome. Um, the cassette is amazing. It's a yellow cassette. It has the double-sided sticker. It has the members of the Justice League on one side. The other side has the Justice League shield on it. So yeah, I picked that up. I appreciate you sending that to me. So
Yeah.
I bought that. So now I'm on the hunt, and so there's a Goodwill on my way home. So I'm going to run into the Goodwill one day just to see if I can find a vintage '80s cassette case like I would have had in my car back in the '80s, and that's how I'm going to display my retro cassettes that I have apparently started collecting.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've seen some very unique ways that people have, display their cassettes. And some of them, that one you kind of need to see the tape itself. But a lot of them where it's just
Where you
the
can
the
read the spine. Yeah.
the spine of it. I've seen those displayed in some really cool ways. But yeah, no, that deserves something. Who is the
Well,
character
I'm
all the way to the
sure
right?
I need to do a little research. I bet there's a book that went along with this.
Maybe.
I bet
Yeah.
there is probably a book, and that's what I need to start looking for now to see if there may not be, but I have a feeling a lot of those, as I recall, those old Fisher Prices usually came with a book or comic book. It might even been a comic book. I don't know. Um, because that actually leads me into another thing that I actually had these back in the day. um, DC did that with where they released, it was a story called The Untold Legend of Batman, and it might have just been The Legend of Batman, and it actually was a comic book that had been published, and then they released it in one of those plastic clamshells with a cassette that actually was a listen and read kind of thing, but it was just the comic book. So you're literally just listening to voice actors doing the dialogue from the comic book.
Yeah.
They were kind of cool. I wouldn't mind finding those again. I
I I
remember
I
those.
I found it. It is it's a hardback book
No
that went
way,
along.
really?
Yeah, that went along with the cassette. Yeah. I'm looking forward to reading about it on This Old Toy. They always have everything. But yeah, it's a
Oh, I
read
do
along.
see. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's that's pretty awesome. And
Actually,
it looks
yeah.
like there's more. Um,
Actually, there's one I can buy from Amazon that's not badly priced.
yeah. I
See, this
I
is
don't
one of
know.
those. Do I just go ahead and buy it online to get it so that I have them together, or do I try to find this in the wild? I'm gonna step out on a limb and go, this is one I'm not gonna see a lot.
I don't think you're going to see it a whole lot out there, but
Yeah.
I mean, I would, definitely check into it to see what the best prices are out there.
Hmm.
But it's something that I've noticed lately, and I don't know if it's almost like when you buy a new car and you're like, oh, I didn't realize how many of there are on the out on the highway. You start to see your
Yeah.
model of car more often. I like ever since I picked up that first Fisher Price action figure, and I've been buying those adventure people.
Now you find them. Now you find at least a couple everywhere, right?
Well, no,
Yeah.
I'm seeing more Fisher Price toys. I mean, I
Oh, okay,
know
got it.
I made the video of the late 70s, early 80s Fisher Price Oscar the Grouch. I don't know if you saw that on Instagram or not. Um, it's him in the trash can with like a tube hooked to the trash can and a bulb, and when you squeeze the bulb, he pops out of the trash can and it slowly closes. Um, I picked that up the other day. I can't believe it was $1.50. I have no idea what they were thinking with the price on that. As soon as I pushed the bulb and he popped up, I was like, yeah, that's going home for $1.50. Whether that stays at my house or it goes into inventory, I have no idea. But yeah, I've just, and now you've got these Fisher Price tapes. And it's like, man, I forgot how great of a toy company Fisher Price really was.
Oh
I
yeah.
just don't think that I gave it the respect that it deserves, because they make really quality toys, and and things that have lasted way longer than they should have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because some of those action figures that I've picked up, it's like, I mean, they're as old as we are, and they're fine.
No, yeah, I mean, they were definitely well, and they were, and that's because I think part of that is because they were made to be played with by
Yes.
toddlers and smaller children who are going to be rough on them. They're going to be
Yeah.
rough, and they were just beyond that, or smaller kids. They're meant to be played with, so they have to be durable. And yeah, yeah. I'm glad that you're finding. I'm glad you're making your track. How many are there? Is this one of those things where we're going to try to build like a full
Oh
set
no, I
of?
no, I'll send you the website. There's not that many of the actual action figures themselves. It's very easily completed. There are a few. I won't get into the prototypes and the ridiculously rare action figures. That I won't do all that, but to complete the run of them, oh, I'm well on the way,
Cool.
especially with some of the pickups that I've made. And there's a couple that I have, much like your book collection. I have one on the shelf. Would I like one in better condition? Sure.
Yeah.
I'll pick that up when I find it. But for right now, they're right over here. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I have sat in this chair and just stared at those action figures. And it's gonna sound stupid, but there's just something calming and peaceful about it. And
Yeah.
it's the
I
same
don't. That's
thing
not.
like when I walk around, whether it's the comic book room or I walk around your living room, there's just something calming about looking at old toys. That just It's just this rush of nostalgia, and it's just
Yeah.
there, and it's something that I really enjoy. I'll sit here and stare at the monsters every
Oh
now and
yeah.
then.
I love looking at the stuff. Yeah. I get that completely. But yeah, I'm glad you're finding those, and I hope you keep finding them.
It's been really fun, and it's one of those things where, um I don't think that there's going to be. I think I have probably picked up two of the most expensive ones when I traded at Collectors Confluence for the X-ray people. There are some more rare ones out there that might be a little bit more, but I think those are probably two of the most expensive. And honestly, trading video games that I was never going to even bother to plug back in, it was almost like getting them for free in a lot of ways. I mean, I've had those video games for 20 plus years sitting downstairs in a box. So it was that those were doing me no good whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's great. Yeah.
well, let's switch out from the toys. I know before we hit record, we had started talking about some of the movies that we've seen recently, and a very specific TV show that you and I have both started watching. Tell me a little bit about the movie you went to
Yeah,
see.
I went to see
Um,
Backrooms with my son Logan and his girlfriend yesterday. Had a great time. I will say it's a great movie. If um, It's a really, I would say, even if you're unfamiliar with the YouTube series by Kane Pixels on the Backrooms, you could still watch the movie, and it gives you enough. Like, you wouldn't really need to know anything about the back lore of the thing. It does. I think it expands on the lore better. It was a really good movie. There were a couple, like, I would say my only complaint is that there are some of the creature effects. They're not badly done. I'm not saying they're bad. They just, I think they showed them too much. Um they are they're disconcerting, they're kind of creepy, but I think you see too much of them, and that kind of undid the spooky factor or creepy factor for me a little
Yeah.
bit. But all in all, it was a great movie, well worth a watch, definitely. We are
Now,
actually
Grant
planning.
said the camera work was a little wild, almost not quite found footage like, but just very shaky.
Well, well, that's the interesting thing about it is that it's not found footage, except for part of the movie. It is part of the
Yeah.
movie, that's part of the story. It's totally explained why. Part of it is literally shot through a video camera, but that's actually part of the what's going on. So it's
Okay.
explained. I thought the camera work was actually, I would say, the acting's amazing. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the main the male lead, his name, but he's one of those actors that as soon as you see him, you're like, oh, I've seen him in a million things. He's always good. Um, the female lead, she was very good. I don't recall seeing her in anything, but she was great. So I would get, the acting was amazing. The story was really good. Um, it definitely is, like it's not jump scare. There are one or two jump scares, but it's not jump scare after jump scare or whatever. And the jump scares are earned in a way, like they're not just done for effect. And I would say all of that is great. I really enjoyed the movie. The ending, I'm going to say the ending, like they nailed the ending, to a point to where it was not the ending I was expecting. I'll just put it that way. It was not the end I expected, and it is. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it's a more apocalyptic ending than I expected in the Backrooms. Because the
Okay.
Backrooms horror in the YouTube videos are is it's kind of a small scale horror, in that it's more disconcerting. People get trapped in the back rooms, clip into this pocket dimension, wherever that is. And there is like a big bad company, like an umbrella corporation called Async, that's kind of behind the whole thing. Um, but like in the YouTube videos, I never got the sense that this was a world-ending event. This movie kind of ends with, "Ooh, this is a world-ending event,"
Okay.
and so it's really good. Um, I would definitely say, if you have any interest at all, you should definitely go check it out. I've
I
heard
mean,
great things about Obsession too. That's probably my next movie I plan to go see is Obsession. I've just heard
okay.
so many good things, and I've intentionally avoided spoiler reviews and everything. Because I've just heard so many good things about it, that I want to go see it.
I hear you. I was very excited to watch Pixel Dan's, I guess if you want to call it a spoiler review, his very in-depth review of He-Man.
Yeah, because you did
Um
go see that. You went
I
to
did,
see
yeah,
Master. Yeah.
I went to go see that, and I have listened to, I mean, I've listened to a lot of people, a lot of podcasts that I listen to, and I mean nothing but absolute glowing reviews, and they loved it. And I did not, I'm not saying it's bad. I had a good time, but I didn't leave feeling like, I mean, these other people are like, oh, they crushed it. This is the best
See,
thing ever. And
uh,
I didn't leave with that feeling.
I find that interesting, because I have I've listened to quite a few reviews, and I really you wasn't planning on going to see it in the theater, so I've even listened to some spoiler reviews. Like I didn't mind having this one spoiled. Um, and I will say that for the most part, they've been. I see. I would say most of the reviews I've heard are generally positive. I wouldn't say they were glowingly positive. Like one review YouTuber that I watch pretty regularly. I trust his opinion. Like he generally liked it. He said, "Yes, this was a fun movie." He like you. He said, "I had a good time." Um, there were things he didn't care for about the movie, particularly in that I think his biggest wish was that they had taken like he's like, I wish they just treated it more seriously. I know it's kind of
I
silly
agree. No,
that they're named He-Man and Man at Arms, but he's like, but they couldn't help themselves but kind of
no.
poke fun at that and
And I
everything. And
think that's
he's like,
my
and it'd
biggest
be
pet peeve.
well, and he was like, there are times, is particularly towards Adam, that he's like, I feel like the writers thought that the audience was going to be laughing with them at this joke, but he's like, but no, they're not laughing with the characters, they're laughing at Adam. They're
Yeah.
because and he's like, and he didn't like that. And he's like, I don't know why, what he was wanting to see was he was hoping that they were going to take this. Yes, the naming is silly. It's based on a children's cartoon, but I want he wanted them to play it in a way like the best example he gave. He said, "I literally wanted them to play it like the Power Rangers TV show used to do, in that yes, this is an innately silly thing, but we're going to play it completely straight."
Well, they started out very serious about it. I
Yeah.
mean, when the beginning of the movie, and then there is a scene where there is an attack, and there are these massive fight scenes with all the different figures, like the different characters and things. I felt like I was a kid back, in my bedroom playing with my action figures again, because in my head, that's kind of what I was seeing. And then I knew it was coming because of the trailers. We spent some time on Earth. It's a little longer than I wanted it to, but I did love the way that they
At, at
kind of,
least it wasn't completely on Earth like the first
yes.
Masters of the Universe
And
movie.
so there's a character that shows up on Earth that is one of my favorite parts of the whole movie. And even though it was very cartoon like. The character that was in that had a lot of things happen to him that just seemed kind of ridiculous, but I was okay with it, and I was amazed at the character. And then we make it
Yeah.
to Eternia and everything is amazing. Once we hit the stuff with the self-awareness and the making fun of the names, I really just kind of got disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone is trying to say, "Oh, treat this like it's Shakespeare or high art." I mean, no, but
Yeah.
like I that's why in that one reviewer, I really felt like his analogy of playing it like the Power Rangers show
Yeah.
from the 90s or the Power Rangers movie from the 90s, where yes, I mean, we as the audience, we're having fun knowing this is, you know, these are people in giant rubber suits getting kicked around by a bunch of teenagers. We're having fun with that, but within the context of the movie itself, they are playing it completely straight. Like
Yeah. Oh, I know.
this is a life or death situation. We're saving the world. And I mean, I think that's what a lot of and as I said, not just this one guy. I would say almost every reviewer I've listened to, they were like, this was an okay movie. I had a good time, but I don't think I haven't heard anybody go, "Oh, they nailed it." Almost every one of the reviewers I've seen had very similar complaints about the self awareness. Like, do we
Yeah.
have to do this? Does every Marvel? it was kind of fun when Marvel first started doing it, but then even Marvel overdid it. And do we have to do this every time now? Is this just
Yeah, but
what?
I mean, like, even in Marvel, I mean, like, Captain America, like, no one batted an eye. Like, if you
No,
think
right.
about that, it is kind of
Yeah.
stupid. But it's like I that it's just something that's just a little too close to the heart.
Yeah.
I don't think that I'm not sure that they could have ever gotten it perfect for me. Because that is definitely one of those toy lines that meant quite a lot to me growing up. And I know you're a little older, so you weren't quite as into
I
the
really,
cartoon and the action
yeah,
figures.
I really didn't get into Masters of the Universe until much later, and I wouldn't even say I got into it. I did go back and yeah, rewatch the cartoon. It would come on.
Yeah,
I think on, was it Cartoon Network or what was the other one besides Cartoon? No, it wasn't. It wouldn't have been Nickelodeon. Anyway, one of the Cartoon Networks actually used to rerun old episodes of the show, along with Transformers and all that. Now, I did watch the Transformers cartoon. I loved that. Uh, but I kind of watched it, and I dug it. I dug it. I've actually wanted to like some of the more modern stuff. I haven't. I mean,
I have.
it's been
Yeah,
hit or miss for me on
same.
some of the newer stuff, but um, I think yeah, I will say I did buy quite a few of uh, the Revelations figures just because they were so well done. I'll say whether I like the cartoon or not, Mattel knocked it out of the park with those
Yeah,
figures.
they do the toys
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
I mean, I know for me, like, obviously the cartoon was something that I watched a lot of, but I never really acted out any of the scenarios from the cartoons, but the comic books that came with them,
hmm
those, I mean, when I bought Moss Man, what happened in the comic book with Moss Man was going to happen in the play at some point. I was going to reenact the fight scenes. I was going to reenact whatever he was getting into. The same thing for, like, like Power Fist, He Man. What happened in the comic, like, those meant a lot to me, and so I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna say the DC comics for Master of the Universe from back in the '80s were awesome. They were great.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna say that I'm kind of pissed at He-Man because he's blocking me from completing my run of DC Comics Presents, which was DC Comics Presents was a line of comics where in every issue Superman would team up with another superhero. And most of those issues are very affordable, a couple of bucks here or there, couple, one or two are more expensive. And of course, the most expensive one is there was a crossover where Superman met He-Man
yeah.
in DC Comics Present. And of course, that one's like $300 and $400. And I'm like, ugh,
I
okay. Masters of the Universe kind of screwed me on that one.
let me double check. I'm not I'm not 100% certain. I don't I think I might have that, and if I do, we'll get that in your collection.
Oh man, you don't
Um,
have to do that. I mean, because
no,
that's like I said,
I'm
that
not.
is not a cheap book.
Well, I know that I wouldn't have paid anywhere near that, so we could get that into your collection for certain. I need to dig though. Let me make sure that that's not that didn't go the way of whatever happened to my Scare Glow and the other action figures that I had at the house that we can't seem to find at all.
hmm
And we've turned the house upside
Yeah.
down.
If you find
Let's
it, I mean, if you find it, we could work out a trade. Definitely with some. I'll probably have to still throw some cash in on you, but I do have that. I do have still in the box with the mailer box the Master of the Universe Revelation Scared Low.
Yeah, yeah, that would be a fair trade.
Yeah,
Well, let's
that's
skip like mediocre movies that have let us down, and let's talk about a TV show that, honestly, for me, I know you had a few
yeah.
things that you weren't happy with, but it's not
Oh,
let me down at
again,
all.
I'm not even saying I'm not happy with those things. It's just
Yeah,
I noticed it, and so far that's been the only action sequence that's really happened. And so, but that's yeah, that's Spider Noir.
Oh my
on
goodness, I
Prime.
love it,
Yeah,
man.
I'm loving the show. I'm loving that they give you the ability to watch it in black and white or color. I actually went back and rewatched. We watched Laura and I watched it the first time in black and white, and then we went back and we didn't watch the entire episode, but I wanted to see this true hue color that they're promoting. And I will say, man, the colors on that are amazing.
I have not watched it in color yet. Everything's been
We
black and
just
white.
started it because I watched that opening sequence from New York City when he's doing the opening
Yeah.
monologue. Um, we watched that whole bit in color because it looked amazing in black and white. Especially, was it just me, or the shot where he's on the building and the lightning strikes behind him and then he's gone? Was that not Batman the Animated Series? They literally.
Well, I mean, I think we've talked about this before about how important that series is, and I would have no doubt that if you were to
Oh,
talk to Nicolas Cage or the people involved with Spider Noir, they would probably say that that's something that's had an influence on them.
I would definitely say that the guy that I looked it up. There are two gentlemen that are writing the score for the series, and I can tell you they are definitely influenced by Danny Elfman from 1989's Batman and Batman the Animated Series. Because there were points in the first two episodes. I've only seen the first two so far. There were points in the first episode where I even asked Laura. I said, "Did Danny Elfman compose the score for this?" And it just has that. I love the show on its own. Don't get me wrong, but I'm sitting there the entire time thinking, if they're going to stick with the whole multiverse thing or bring that into the DCU, like James Gunn's DC movie, I'm like, I would love to see a Batman or Superman movie set on an alternate Earth that's set in the 40s, the 30s or 40s,
No,
and
I
do it
think
just
that
like this. That would be amazing.
no, I think it would be awesome. I have really enjoyed and I've talked about this before, but Werewolf by Night is I
Oh
watch
yeah.
that every
Hmm.
Halloween. I watch it in black and white. I love it in black and white. And then I will turn around and watch that one in color too. And I have things that I like about
I,
both of
you know,
those.
you're gonna be mad at me, but I still have not watched Werewolf by
I
Night yet,
I
and
I I'm not mad. I think you're when you first watch it, you are going to be like, I have missed a Universal monster like movie for the
well,
past 3 or 4 Halloweens.
here's what I want to do. Let's add that to the Halloween tradition this year because it
Let's do it.
certainly isn't going to be Mad Monster Party.
No, it is not. It is
I
not
was
going to be
hoping
that.
that would be part of the new Halloween tradition, but
God, I
it
was
is
so
not.
excited for that, man. What
Me
an
too.
absolute letdown, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
we've talked about that before. When it gets closer to Halloween, we are going to do a full episode where we talk. I mean, I'll have to go back and finish the cartoon, and I'm
oh,
not looking forward to that. But yeah, we'll do a whole episode about Mad Monster Party. But I definitely this Halloween. I loved what we did last year, where we got together before Halloween. We did watch that. We'll find something else to slot in its place. I'm voting for Fright Night, uh, and um, and we'll do Werewolf by Night, and probably finish off the evening again with Monster Squad. Got to do
yeah,
that. That's got to be the Halloween tradition right there.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I would say this Halloween when we get together for a Halloween viewing party, um, we'll slip Werewolf by Night in on that.
I'll be interested to get your take on it, because
Yeah.
you might have some insight into some of the and more depth of knowledge onto some of the comic book characters that show up in there than I did, because I know that there's a lot to take in, and
I
there are a
know
lot.
Man Thing is in it. I think you told me that, right?
He
Doesn't
is, yeah.
Man Thing? I'll be interested to see Man Thing. That's a character that, as far as I know, we've never seen. I'm not even sure in any of the Marvel cartoons over the years Man Thing ever showed up.
I'm not. I don't think so. I
Yeah,
love the way they did, and again, I didn't read a lot of Man Thing comics, but I'll be interested to see if you think that it keeps him comic book accurate in the way that he does things.
Man Thing was one of those characters I never like I didn't go out of my way to read Man Thing comics, kind of like Swamp Thing. They were always peripheral characters for me, but I enjoyed when they would show up in other books. Um like one kind of back to the DC Comics Presents. I loved the old team up books that they used to do. Like DC Comics Presents, Superman would team up with someone in every issue. Brave and the Bold, Batman would team up with a different superhero in every issue. And then on the Marvel side, you had Marvel 2-in-1, which was Spider-Man teaming up. No, wait a minute. I think Marvel 2-in-1 was The Thing would team up with a different
The Thing
superhero,
did team
and
up with a
yeah,
lot of people.
yeah, he teamed up in every issue with a different superhero. And then I can't believe that the title there was a Spider-Man one too, where every issue Spider-Man would team up with a different Marvel superhero. Uh, and I cannot believe that the title of that one just slipped right out of my head. But anyway, and I do know that like there are several issues where Man Thing would show up in the issue. I don't know if I would ever call it a team up just because Man Thing's kind of a force of nature. He's not even necessarily as articulate as Swamp Thing, but then of course I did get more into Swamp Thing in the late '80s because Alan Moore did what is considered the the quintessential Swamp Thing run of
Yeah,
comics, and I do have. I don't have the individual issues complete. I don't have a complete run, but they released them a few years ago as a series of 4 trade paperbacks to collect the whole thing, and I do have all of those. So great reads. And but Swamp Thing, and I do when it comes to action figure stuff. I do love, for whatever reason, I love the swamp creatures. I like I have a lot of different swamp things. I have some of the build a figure man things. I have the Marvel Revelations Moss Man. So
very similar.
I'm
Yeah.
building I call it my green shelf.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's awesome. Actually, I haven't watched it yet. I have it saved, but I saw that Toy Polloi had a Moss Man restoration uh video pop up the other day. That I want to go back and watch that because when I do find Moss Man, they usually are in pretty rough
Yeah,
condition.
because they're flocked, right? And
Yeah.
so how I might be interested in, not that I would ever need to restore one, but I just want to see how you restore that. Like,
Yeah,
how do you
I
even do that?
just saved it. I'm gonna have to go back and when I have a time to sit down and watch it, I want to watch that.
I
But yeah, I think it would be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean yeah, that's one I think I would definitely love to kind of take a look. I love watching his stuff anyway. I find, and he's almost got that ASMR vibe going.
A
Like
little
just
bit, yeah.
listening to him is very relaxing.
That's
The
that's
other,
one of the reasons why I bought those wrestlers. Honestly, I can see me in the past leaving those in the bin. And
yeah,
honestly, after watching him, it's like, you know what? Like you probably can fix this.
yeah,
And it's possible. And if you mess up, okay, you mess up. I paid nothing
yeah,
in
yeah.
the long run for all those figures. So it was a lot of fun, and I listened to some really good podcasts while I was cleaning them, and I was just outside on a beautiful day, and time went by, and I got the guy cleaned off, and it was really neat to stop and take pictures or videos to see the stages of completely gray to some of it's coming off to almost all of it's off. I had a great time doing it, and yeah, I'll have to get those videos uploaded. I might finish up Iron Sheik and then just kind of smush those two together as one video, but I'll probably be able to get that up this week.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, like I said, I have my Mattel action figure shorts that I'm hoping to get posted this week too. Like I said, I don't know that I'm going to post them all at once. Since they're shorts, I may just schedule them to come out one a day for like 4 days and just see
Yeah.
how the viewers react to that. I hope they like it.
I hope it's as much as it was on Instagram because that's like up into the upper 2000s, maybe into the threes at this
Oh
point.
yeah, same. I mean, we're at about 700 views on YouTube on that one too. Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
it's great. I'm going to tell you though, one of the best viewed videos we have is still your first video, that little short video with the talking ViewMaster, and I honestly think you should probably consider doing a deeper dive into ViewMaster stuff.
On the ViewMaster, I can do that. I mean, I had a lot of fun doing that. Setting up
Yeah,
the camera work for that was the worst part, but
yeah.
it's still a lot of fun. I know that,
'Cause there is a there I mean, the ViewMaster community, we still get comments. Like, that video is what, a year old? Maybe a
it's
little,
maybe a little
maybe
older,
over a
yeah.
little older than that now, and, we will still every now and then, I will notice that someone commented on it.
That's why I don't know who it was, and I should probably respond back to that person, but I was pronouncing it gaff the whole time, and
Oh,
apparently
it's
it's GAF.
GAF. Yeah,
I
yeah,
had
you
no
pronounce it GAF. Yeah, it's
I
yeah,
had no idea. So, again, you
yeah.
learn something new, all the time,
I think
and
it's a
so
German company, so I think that the name I might be wrong.
that
Uh
sounds correct.
I believe it is a German company. Oh, I did forward a video to you, speaking of ViewMaster stuff. There's an interesting video on YouTube, um, showing how they did the custom 3D modeling for some of the ViewMaster reels.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at messages to see if because I haven't seen that. I may be one of those that I'm like, I'm gonna go back and watch that later,
I
kinda
will
thinking to figure
I'll
out.
double check and I'll resend it if
No,
you
I'm sure it's in my thread. I'm not like a lot. I don't delete any messages. I have like our whole text thread is still open on my phone. I don't ever delete anything. So it's easy for me to go back and find it. But yeah, I'll be excited to do that for certain. That'd be some things to watch this evening as I'm winding down and preparing for another pretty busy day tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, and we haven't even touched on that. Congratulations on your summer job working with Wake Forest University. That's I know you were hoping to get that position
Yeah,
for your time off, and it sounds like it's going great so far.
I mean, today, if today was any indication, I mean, it is definitely a lot of work. You are very busy. There's a lot of times that you want to step in as a teacher, but because this is a problem-based learning, you got to let the kids struggle a little bit, and that can be kind of hard. And the kids don't quite understand why you're letting them struggle so much, but you just kind of you just keep working with them. And so I learned a lot of things today. I know there's some new things tomorrow, and I hope this becomes an opportunity that I can continue forward. I'm just going to do my best this week, and I'm going to do my best when we do a very similar class in Charlotte in a few weeks. And then I was looking at the schedule. I still get to do the thing at NC State. I thought I was going to have to skip that, but I'll still get to do that too.
Well, the good
So
part of that is that means you'll be in Raleigh and Charlotte, and so you'll be able to. I'm sure you'll find some time to hit up some used bookstores
oh yeah,
and places, and
when
yeah,
I'm in Raleigh, I'm going to hit every toy book place that I can possibly find because there's a lot of days when the day ends kind of early. And I know
yeah.
that they are setting me up in an apartment there, but I'm not going to go back to an apartment and sit. I'm going to hit the road and try to find some stuff for
That's
both of us.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it should be a good time.
That's what
Well,
I miss. That's what I miss about traveling for work. I don't really travel for work anymore, but I loved when I would go to Wisconsin or to Texas for work, and I would find every half price books that was in driving distance,
of course,
and I would go there, or I would find local used bookstores, comic stores.
I'm going to do all
I
that.
love visiting local comic stores anytime
Yeah,
I do
I'm
travel.
pretty certain that I don't think there's anything in Raleigh that you haven't been to
No,
as far as
I'm not
comic
saying
book
so
stores.
either, but we haven't been there in a long time, so I'm sure the stock has turned
Yeah.
over since
So
we've been
I
there.
know there's a couple very good toy stores. I'm sure I'll find a comic book store too. Maybe I can find an antique store in between all that time. Um, but I mean, still got to get some rest and do the work that they need me to get done as
Oh,
well. But
of course, first things
you know,
first. But
yeah, uh, that one I think I'm going to get a whole lot done. Charlotte, I guess depending on when I get out, I might be able to find a couple of places here and there. But again, that's another spot that I feel like that, unless you're going to go outside of Charlotte, we have hit the record stores and the comic stores and the toy stores there.
and the
I mean,
bookstores too, kind of,
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, we've done a pretty good job. I did find a new place I want to say Charlotte. I have it saved on my phone. I'll send that to you later this evening. Uh,
I do know there are a couple around that area that I know that I haven't made it to yet that Todd Venture has done in a couple of his videos that are in that. I don't know how far out of the metropolitan Charlotte area they are. Um, but I'll have to check those old Todd Venture videos and see because I know is one uh, retro toy store down there that he's been to a couple of times, and I know I've never made it there yet. So
yeah.
maybe you might get a chance to go there. You may have already been there. I don't know, but I don't remember the name of the store right now. I'd have to go back and review those videos.
Yeah, it just depends on where they have us in Charlotte. I think we're close to feel like we might be close to the school
The
down there.
university
So
down there, yeah,
I
yeah.
think so. So that kind of limits where you can get to, especially if you're getting out later in the day and a place closes at like say 5 or 6. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
have a lot of
that's the
travel
only
time.
problem with a lot of the vintage places we like to go is they all have odd hours. Nobody nobody
Ah.
I miss the hours, back in the day, when everything was open from 10 to 9.
Yeah.
That was the standard hours. COVID kinda killed that. No, I
Yeah.
mean, even the
COVID destroyed a lot of stuff.
even the mall isn't open until 9 anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. COVID put a hurting on a lot of things and
Mhm.
really changed the trajectory of a lot of the things that are out there. Cause I mean, I remember you used to could stay out all night and always find
Oh, I
something
know.
that was open. And now, I
Yeah,
mean,
we've talked about it. I'm like, what do kids do for a date night now? Because I remember when I was a teenager, you could go, you'd go pick up your date, you'd go to dinner, you'd go to a movie, you'd still have time to go to the mall and hang out, and then there were other things to do. Restaurants were still open.
yeah.
Now it seems like, I mean, McKay's, thankfully, is one of the few things that's still open till like 10 o'clock. Or we would even go to Barnes and Noble because they were open a lot of times. For a while there, they were open till like 11 p.m. So you could go
Yeah, I
hang out
do miss them
there.
staying open late. That
Yeah,
was a that
and
was a
and
big
now
spot to go
everything
to.
closes at like 7 or 8 o'clock.
I guess the metrics just prove that they don't need to be open, or they would be, if there was money to be made,
No, if
they
there
would
was
be open.
money to be made, they'd be open. I'm not saying that. It's just, I hate that it's gone that way. Cause yeah, cause Laura and I talk about it all the time. Cause our big joke is our best date night is going to the grocery store. Cause
Yeah.
all kidding aside, we actually like going to different grocery stores and just walking around and we'll find new stuff that's interesting. So, but especially that started during COVID when the only place you could go at a lot of times was a grocery store.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it took a lot of things away. But I don't know, man. Well, I know I joked about finishing this up early today, but we did not. We've hit our usual time, so I guess we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah, this has
Uh,
been kind of a stream of consciousness podcast. So, um,
you
we
either
both,
love it or you hate it.
you love it or you hate it. We hope you loved it. You know, I know that we've both been really busy over the past week, and you especially start with your new job. And um, I we just need to get together. We have a lot of ideas of things we want to talk about on the show. It's just we need to have the time to kind of do the research to get ready for the episode. So
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I guess that's it for the week. We appreciate all the people out there. I know you mentioned it last week, but liking and subscribing really
subscribing.
does help the channel.
Yep.
Leaving comments. I mean, if you don't like these random conversations, if there's something that you really want us to talk about, drop a comment
Doesn't
wherever
mean we're
you're
not going to
listening.
do it, but feel free to leave a comment.
Yeah, I mean, we'll. I mean, we're pretty interested in a lot of things. So,
Yeah.
I if we think that people would be interested, I mean, I think there's a good likelihood that that could show up in our next conversation for certain. So, I don't know. I guess that's it for me, man. So we'll see you later.
See you later. Have a great week.